What does this dude say? He says, master the art of being alone, and that will tie into today's main event. Let's check this out.
Bro, a lot of people can't even go out by themselves. A lot of people can't even go out to eat by themselves. I could go to a movie by myself. I can go out to eat by myself. I can go out bowling by myself. Rocking by myself doesn't bother me. You gotta be alright with being by yourself, bro. You gotta be alright with rocking by yourself. Bro, a lot of people can't even go out by themselves. A lot of people can't even go out to eat by themselves.
Yeah, man. A lot of people cannot do a lot of stuff by themselves. A lot of people feel like they need people to be with them in order for them to do anything in this world. people always the people that always need somebody by their side to do stuff, man, those are people that are very weak minded and they constantly need validation. And it's very hard for them to really function without somebody, some type of validation or uh I guess energy around them. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people just need other people around them to get going. They need to be in social clubs and they need to be around other people. And I get it. That's cool. I'm not saying, just be an introvert on purpose, but you also got to learn how to be alone sometimes, man. And I was like that too. I always felt like I needed to be with people in order for me to do stuff. But then you realize that, man, you get so much done when you can do shit by yourself. You're not waiting on people, you know, you're on your own time. You can go here, go there, go there. You can get everything you need to get done in a decent amount of time and get back to whatever it is that you're doing. You're not worried about nobody else. And sometimes, man, that is the best way to live sometimes, man. I'm not saying that's all the time. Yes, it's good to have friends around you, but at the same time, man, it does help to know how to be by yourself at times. I have no problem going to the movies by myself. I went to the movies by myself yesterday. Yeah. I went to the movies by myself the last two times, really. And I rarely go to the movies because there just hasn't been any really good movies on lately. But man, I've been to the movies by myself the last 2, 3 times. And I've been cool with that. I go out to eat by myself sometimes. I go to places by myself because, man, just master the art of being alone, man, is very powerful. It can get dangerous too, man. And I'm learning to have the balance because you don't want to get to a point where you're always by yourself and now it's hard for you to function in around other people. And I don't have that issue because I'm always going to be very social from my job and how just the industry that I'm in is a very social industry. So I'm constantly forced to be around people and interact. So that's never going to be a problem. But if you're someone that doesn't interact with people a lot and you're always by yourself, now that could be very dangerous because you can lose your social skills. So you don't want that to happen. So I would suggest that yes, it's good to be by yourself at times and do things by yourself, but you also still want to have, a social life, have social skills, keep your social skills sharp, and just be on point. But yeah, man, sometimes it's okay to be alone. It's okay to do things by yourself, go places by yourself, you know. And if you haven't done that before, man, I challenge you guys to go ahead and do that. Go ahead and go to the movies by yourself. Go ahead and go eat by yourself. It's okay. You're not a loser. I know some of you guys think, oh, that's a loser. People gonna think I'm a loser. Bro, you're not a loser just because you go out to eat by yourself. Who cares? I do it all the time. I'm not a loser. I know I'm not a loser. But some of y'all care too much about what people think about you. I guarantee you strangers are not thinking that, yo, that guy's eating by himself. He's a loser. Bro, nobody cares, man. You care too much about what people think about you. And that's one thing you got to stop doing. Just one day out the week, man, just go to a restaurant by yourself or go to the movies, go to the mall. I don't know. Do something that you like doing by yourself. Because I guarantee you this, at some point, you're going to be by yourself any fucking way. So you might as well get used to it. Oh yeah. And we'll get into that in the main event in a second. But yeah, just get used to doing shit by yourself because there's gonna be a point in time where you will be doing shit by yourself. Anyway, man, let's get to the main event. We appreciate you guys for tuning in as always. We going in today, man. Today's been a great episode so far. Um, but today's main event, man, tying into what we just talked about, why solitude is your superpower. Talking today about why being alone, man, is going to be more beneficial than harm. You know, a lot of times we're always surrounded by distractions. We're surrounded by, people. We're so accessible. And that's not always a good thing. Being too accessible is not a good thing. That's one of the 48 laws of power, one of my favorite books in the world, right? Um, it talks about, I forgot the exact quote, don't quote me on it, but it just talks about how you lose power being too accessible. So there's power in, you know, letting people miss you. There's power in not always being available. There's power in popping up, sporadically. When people haven't seen you in a long time and they miss you, and there's power in that. And sometimes that is needed to build discipline, direction, and sometimes that's needed to build dominance. You need that, right? Solitude isn't optional. Sometimes it is required. Sometimes that is a requirement, especially if you are on a journey where you feel like you are starting over, right? You might be on a health journey. Hey, man, sometimes it's good to go ghost mode. Sometimes ghost mode is needed. Sometimes getting offline and kind of disappearing for a little bit, that is sometimes that's what you need. Because like I said, you're on social media a lot, you're on friends a lot, you're still going out. It's too many distractions. So how can you lock in and focus on what needs to be focused on when you're constantly around different energies, you're constantly around different people, different types of personalities, different conversations? How can you focus on what needs to be focused on? Right? So it's very important when you're in the building stages, when you're building something of value. Sometimes going ghost is the right thing. Sometimes just being alone for a little bit is the right thing. I'll tell you this, man. When I've started over in my business so many times, trying to restructure my business, trying to get things together. And there's been so many times, especially this time around, when I'm trying to start this podcast and revamp it, from what it was before. I had to really get off the gram, man. It came to a point in time where I just needed to just get off social media. I was off social media for like a month because at that point I had restarted everything. I felt like, where I was in life, I just didn't really want have access. I just didn't want people to have access to me at that point. So what I did was I just got off social media. I got off social media for like, I would say 30 to 45 days. I was off that bitch. I was completely ghost mode. All I was doing was working on restructuring my business, um, putting this thing together, right? And just coming up with new ideas, new content strategies, and also just getting back in the swing of things, man. Just getting my mind right, because it's very easy to get distracted and look at what somebody else is doing, maybe somebody else in your field, and you feel like damn, he's doing this or damn, she's doing that, and you kind of start comparing yourself, man. And when you're in that building stage, it's very easy to get distracted and start looking at other people and start comparing yourself and just start feeling like you're not doing enough. So what I had to do, I just had to get off social media. completely for like a month and a half, you know, and kind of just go back to the drawing board, write down my goals, write down what I want out of life, and at that point just execute. At that point, it was me versus me. And I look back now from where I started about 6 months ago to now, man. I definitely have made drastic improvements in a lot of areas that I can say I'm very proud of myself. Obviously, I'm still not satisfied where I want to be at, but looking back where I was 6 months ago to now definitely is a major, major improvement. And sometimes, again, that is needed. Sometimes you might need that. I'm not saying you might need 6 months, but for me, I know I needed about 6 months, and I'm still improving. I'm still working on my shit. I'm still working on everything I need to work on. I'm a work in progress, you know, but I can say that I've gotten better over time, and things have drastically changed. You know, it isn't where I want to be at yet, obviously, but we're headed in the right direction, and that's all I can ask for. But I wouldn't have gotten that had I not just went in complete isolation. So let's check this video out. It kind of touches on everything I just said here. So let's see what this video has to say. Let me refresh it real quick. Hold on.
Sometimes you got to disappear, improve, return, and shock everyone. You got to focus on you for once in your life. It's okay to go ghost for a little bit and worry about you. Focus on the goals and dreams that you have in your heart. Focus on everybody else. You helping everybody else, but now it's time for you to help yourself. And it's time for you to lock in. And I promise you, when you go ghost, when you disappear, when you work on yourself, you're going to show people what's possible. All right? It's not selfish to focus on you, because when you elevate, other people going to ask you, man, what did you do? How did you do it? That's more powerful than trying to put everybody on. You know, when we try to put everybody on and say, yo, join me on this, join me on that, sometimes they just not about it. Sometimes they just don't want to go to the gym. They're not as locked in as you. You got to be the leader, and you have to do it, and you might have to be a lone wolf for a little bit. But then when you come back, you're going to shock everyone. People going to ask you how you did it. People will be inspired, and you'll be able to have the blueprint to show your friends, family, and community what it means to really lock in, what it means to really be successful. But we have to be the living and breathing example. And it might be a lonely journey sometimes, but it's going to be worth it. It's going to be worth it. So if you want to see yourself win and you want to see others win, take your own life serious first. Look in the mirror first. Finally focus on you. Lock in and shock the world, man. You got this. I love you. Keep going, and God bless you.
Yeah, man. Speaking facts. You know, in order to really help people, like I want to help people, I understand that I first have to lock in myself and get myself to where I need to be at. And that's continuing to just be consistent. That's continuing to, you know, put the work in, put out good information, put out good content for you guys. Because once you make it, man, once things start moving in the right direction, people are gonna ask you, how did you do it? You know, how did you get here? How did you do this and do that? And rather than, oh yeah, I did XYZ, you can just really share the blueprint, man. I just locked in. I just isolation. You know, I avoided people for a little bit. I kind of just got off the gram. I distanced myself from people, and I locked in at the task at hand. I just executed, you know, and that's really all it boils down to, man. It's all just execution and consistency. Those are the two ingredients for massive success, man. So once you have those two in your corner, then you can become unstoppable. But it just comes down to you eating shit first, man. Isolation is, yeah, sometimes it sucks, man. Sometimes it sucks. Sometimes you're gonna feel like you're missing out. Sometimes you're gonna feel like you're missing out on life, events, people, whatever the case is, man. But sometimes you got to remind yourself you're really not missing out on anything. All that shit is gonna be there when it's time. When you're ready for it, all that shit is gonna be there. The parties, the trips, the events, the relationships, whatever, all that shit's gonna be there. It ain't going nowhere. But time is going somewhere. Your time is always on the move. Your time is running out. I'm not saying it's over, but you don't have time to mess around. You don't have time to play around with this shit no more. Especially if you're someone that's 30 plus, 30, 40, you don't have time to mess around no more, man. If there was a time to start, the time is now. The time is now. You don't have any more time to waste. That idea that you were thinking about 6 months ago, that you're still thinking about, you don't execute right now. Just do it now. Start now. You don't have time anymore to put things off. You don't have time anymore for I got a new idea. Bro, just execute. Just do it. If it fails, it fails. And then move on to the next one. I've had many ideas, but I guarantee you I've executed on 95% of them. Some failed, some didn't. Some I brought to life and it was very successful. And now I'm on to the next one. You know what I'm saying? So just stop putting shit off, man, and just execute. But sometimes that comes with you being by yourself. If you being by yourself is uncomfortable, you got a lot of work to do, man. You got a lot of work to do. You need to work on being more focused. Like, I don't give a fuck if you feel lonely. Here's a truth bomb for you. Most guys are worried about when they lock in about being lonely. Here's a truth bomb. A majority of your life, you're going to be lonely anyway. Because guess what? If you don't rise to the occasion, you're going to be fucking lonely. You're going to be by yourself anyway. If you don't make something out of your life, I'm not saying you got to be rich and successful and drive a Lamborghini, but guess what? If you don't have a decent life, if you can't even take care of yourself, you're going to be by yourself anyway. So you might as well start now and work into that. You might as well do yourself a favor now and embrace it now so that over time you can enjoy the finer things. You can enjoy life the way you want to enjoy life. But you can't do that now if you're just wishful thinking. I got this idea, but I'm too afraid of what, bro. There's at this point we can't even live our life based off of what somebody else thinks. Not at this point, man. That's crazy. Let them talk. Okay, cool. They say he's trying too hard. Okay, they saying he's doing this and doing that. Bruh, that doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean a damn thing. Execute, man. Just execute. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, move on to the next one. And maybe that one will. But you'll never know because you're not focused. Man, just being by yourself gives you more clarity. It gives you more focus. It builds discipline. It builds self-trust. And these are the components. These are the ingredients, man, to be unstoppable. You can be unstoppable if you have all these things in your corner. But you can't do that unless you lock in, kind of play the lone wolf for a little bit. Now, this isn't always everybody's case. Some people can do it in collaboration, right? Some people have groups of people that they can lock in with and team up with. That's different, but many of us don't have that privilege. A lot of us are going to be doing shit by ourselves. So you better embrace being by yourself now. Because if you don't embrace it now, you damn sure going to be by yourself later on. So master solitude, man. Master the art of the monk mode. Master just going ghost for a little bit until you feel like you've executed things and now you can get back on the gram again or back on socials and be social again. But when you're in that early stage, man, that is a must. You must lock in.